Alright, so hopefully the installation instructions are good enough that that'll get you up and started, but I kind of want to give you an idea of how to get started using this. Ratchet's probably one of the more complicated things about getting up and running, so I'll start off there and give you an idea of what that looks like. So in Ratchet, we are using plain HTML and then using these data properties in order to kind of target things in order to merge in data with them. So this is some HTML that's just describing how a chat room is going to look. In this case, all we have is this div property for messages, and this is going to take some data that's going to be a list, and it'll render out as many messages as we have in the list. Then we got the form, and I also so we got the CSRF token here that will make Phoenix happy, so I don't have to shut off any of the security features involved with CSRF tokens. So I'll pass those in as data as well, and I'll just show you that we can overwrite some stuff. So here I've set type as password, and we're going to overwrite that, put type as text, so that we can put text in the field, not have them show up as dots like you would expect in a password field. So let's take a look at the data. So that I like to put my data in the views. So we are doing everything under the default Phoenix's page root. So I've got the page index.html.ratchet right here, so that's my ratchet view. And you also notice that this plays nice with the EX, so if you look inside of our app.html.ex, we've got regular EEX syntax and everything in here, and this is just doing a normal EEX declaration for rendering out the view module and the view template. So our view module and view template, as expressed by our router, is pointing at the page stuff, so we're loading at the page view, and I chose to put all my data in here. You can put it in any module you want. I think it makes sense to have view data inside the view module. Alright, so get the HTML, get the view module, and if you'll see, this kind of matches up pretty nicely with the HTML. It's a tree structure, so we've just got a map at the top level of chat, just like the divs. Top level of data property is chat. Inside this map, the value is chat children. Inside chat children, you see we'll have more maps that are pointing to other things, so it doesn't have to be a map depending on what kind of data you want back. Like this chat.getMessage, for instance, is a list. So let's look at chat.getMessages. I don't think it has anything in it. Yeah, so we've got two strings in there. I've inputted two strings. You don't have to worry about the persistence layer. That's not important for this tutorial. All that you have to know is that this chat.getMessage is going to return a list that has strings inside of it. So that's going to render however many messages, and that's how we're going to kind of make this dynamic. Then we got our form children. You can see that I've got the action method here. So when I post something back, it's going to go to the add message root with the method of post. So pretty normal HTML form stuff. You can see that I didn't put anything up here, so it's just going to merge the data in. Okay, so we go to the message input, and this is where we're declaring for like the hidden field. I've got the CSRF tag, so I'm making that hidden field because I don't want anybody to deal with that on the front end. The name is using the I think the plug specifies that this is how you're supposed to make the value inside your struct for it to work with plugs. CSRF, I guess authentication. What would you call that? Security, I guess. Then the value is the Phoenix controller. This is just something the Phoenix gives us, so that takes care of CSRF for us. We get the message input, and this is where I turn this from type password to text. I'm going to go show you real quick that it is password, so we'll refresh this page. Wait, I didn't disable Texas or anything, did I? Oh, I know what I gotta do. So inside of the controller, page controller, this is where we're merging the data in. So the only difference you'll really see from a default kind of render route for index whenever you load up a Phoenix application is that Ratchet expects this this keyword list with the data value, or key rather, and the value is this data structure right here. So we're just going to put an empty list there so we're not overriding any of our data, and we'll look, and you'll see here this is our CSRF. Inspect that, our CSRF input field, and since we haven't told it to be type hidden, we haven't put the token in there or anything. That's all that we got. And this is type password. You can see that it has password field type stuff, but since when we're merging in the data and keeping the data completely separate from the HTML, it will turn into what we expect. So we'll go back, merge the data back in, go back, and you can see that our test in another string, which is inside of chat.getMessages. So you also notice that right now, without any JavaScript, this works. Cool. So that's just a regular form posting back to an HTTP endpoint that we have set up, and it's working kind of like you'd expect. So this is kind of where Texas comes into play. So Texas comes into play by making this real time. As you can see right now, this is not updating other clients, not broadcasting out messages whenever you save them, so we'll change that. Texas is going to write our JavaScript for us. So it's actually already done that. I have just not included the JavaScript. Right now it's commented out. So I'm going to uncomment that out. So now we're loading up the vendor and the Texas.js files, which we've already got set up. And Texas will just work, I think. I hope. Alright, so we'll refresh this page. Test. And cool. So now you can see live to all the clients. So how's that happening? What did we actually have to set up? So Texas writes the JavaScript for us. It sets up the socket, and it does the virtual DOM stuff for us. How does that happen? So if you go inside this view module, you can put the declaration anywhere as long as this gets compiled. So you'll have to put it inside of well, when you put it inside of a file and you recompile, then of course it's going to hit this declaration, and this is just a macro. So what's happening is the macro is writing the JavaScript for us. This is the scope right here. So the top element in our little partial is chat, and this is declaring that anything inside of chat, whenever we post something to a form, in this case message form is the data property that we're kind of binding it to. Anytime we post that, then send it down a socket which we set up on the channel, which is prop::message form. That's just a convention right now. That might change in the future. So we'll go to our user socket, and I'll show you where I'm accepting channel messages on prop message forms. Cool. So whenever we pass, all we're doing is serializing that form data and passing it down a WebSocket, as opposed to just doing normal form things with the HTML and passing it to an HTTP endpoint. So now we're catching this on a WebSocket channel, and we'll go to our WebSocket. So chat channel, sure. Got normal things to do and join, and on the handle in a prop message, we're doing some pattern matching to get the params out. Then it comes down like a URI decode. It comes in just like a URI param, like you would expect inside the controller, and Phoenix handles kind of parsing that out and putting it into a map for us. But since we're doing this down a channel, Phoenix doesn't get anything. So we'll use the URI decode query function, and we'll turn the params into a map as we kind of expect to handle it. So then we'll do some pattern matching, grab the message out, and then just do a chat add message. And like I said earlier, the persistence layer doesn't really matter here. You can add the message in any way as long as you're returning it in the data in the form that that Ratchet expects to render out. And then we're just doing what the channel does, essentially, is we're rendering well, what Phoenix, the controllers do is it's putting this HTML string inside of the connection struct, but we don't need that whole entire connection struct, so we're just gonna get the HTML string, in this case just the chat and all of its children, HTML, render that out, and you'll see it looks pretty familiar with the render function, is that we're just taking the index.html, which it knows to grab inside of the page template by convention, and we have the data that we're merging with it with this keyword list. It's the top level data, and same thing here, page view.data, merging our data with it using Ratchet, and go to HTML, and so we save that inside of HTML, pass it back up to our clients as a message by broadcasting it on that prop message form, and that's how we get live. So that's how we get live broadcasting to all of our clients. So you can see it's really flexible. You can intercept stuff. It's not closing anything off to you. Even the JavaScript is fully accessible inside this Texas. So you can see here, this is all the JavaScript that's being written for us. We got our sockets, even our top level import. So you have access to everything. It's really flexible. It just makes it's just a convenience writing some code for us, so you never have to write any application JavaScript. You can focus on your Elixir backend. Focus on your endpoints, whether they be WebSockets or controllers, or HTTP controller endpoints rather. But the cool thing about this is you'll notice we never wrote a line of application JavaScript. We're just working with HTML and backend technologies, and if your JavaScript fails to load for whatever reason, we've set up a controller to work, so that's a failsafe. This is kind of what's known as a progressive enhancement, in that we started off with a very basic core technology, which is HTML and HTTP, and then we just built on top of it until we have live broadcasted data. So you might see me in the future. Maybe I'll be streaming on Live Coding TV, building some more complex applications. Maybe I'll do another YouTube video. I don't know. But hopefully this served as a good getting started point. If you have any questions, you can find me in multiple places. Probably the easiest place to find me might be the Elixir Slack channel, I guess. I don't know. Hit me up on GitHub, wherever. Let me know if you have any questions, concerns, whatever. Alright, hope this little video was useful for you.